Welcome to Step 4, Experience the Value of Working Together. Hi, my name is Joey Yarber, and I'm your co-host for this empowering training series. We're so grateful that you took time to take your next steps in learning how to transform lives and your community. In Step 4, you'll learn how collective community impact is essential for moving the needle on complex community challenges like poverty, hunger, health disparities, and more. We'll show you how increased cooperation sets the stage for a better together civic culture. And we'll show you how a CARE collaborative is beneficial to a cross-sector, community-focused approach to transforming lives. Are you ready to get started? Here's Mike.
In Step 4, your key challenge will be to increase cooperation among diverse helping agencies in your community. Your action steps will involve engaging stakeholders from the public, private, and social community sectors in catalytic conversations that can drive collective action. And your measurable results will be a better together civic culture which begins to emerge and encourages people and organizations to work together for common good and greater impact. Henry Ford once said, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." In this session, we will show you how to get people and organizations in your community to work together to address complex community challenges more successfully. This will happen as new community values are anchored and become the foundation for a better together civic culture. Developing this culture is a strategic capacity building process. In steps 1, 2, and 3, I showed you important processes for making diverse helping agencies more aware of each other's presence in your community. This increased communication sets the stage for increased cooperation, which we will now explore in steps 4, 5, and 6. For now, I want to focus on what it will take to increase a spirit of cooperation among helping agencies in your community. In a better together civic culture among helping agencies, increased cooperation can be defined as commonly shared mission aligned for greater impact. As diverse helping agencies begin to see the value of increased connectivity and communication, this can set the stage for increased cooperation. Agencies begin to value and respect each other more as silo walls, supported by isolated practices, begin to come down. Our technology tools enable agencies to engage with one another in a non-competing and interactive environment with mutual benefits. Agencies realize that sharing information with each other does not mean that they have to give up their individuality, autonomy, or unique missions. Instead, they quickly learn that shared information and the ability to refer clients to other agencies complements one another. They also begin to see the potential of aligning their unique strengths and partnering together to collectively tackle tough community challenges with greater force and success. They also realize that each agency, regardless of its mission, could be part and parcel of a successful approach to comprehensive coordinated care. This can easily happen with a spirit of cooperation at work throughout a community. I have often heard that getting people to work together is a lot like herding cats. I think you will enjoy this short video that I found on the internet.
This man right here is my great-grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half-wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether. Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning, right here, and if you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
You see the movies, you hear the stories, I'm living a dream. Not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
It ain't an easy job, but when you bring a herd into town and you ain't lost a one of them, ain't a feeling like it in the world.
Many years ago, I was traveling through a state and saw a billboard that really caught my eye. At first, I thought it was a mistake, but after thinking about it, I realized it was a profound truth. We probably should take a moment and think about what this billboard actually said. United we fall, divided we stand. I mentioned in an earlier session that most communities in America are plagued with so much fragmentation, isolation, and self-interest. This can be detrimental to transforming people's lives and building vibrant, healthy communities. So what is at stake if we allow these plagues to dominate our community's civic culture? We all can be thankful for the research conducted by FSG Consulting, which led to discoveries about collective impact. I encourage you to read the articles in the Stanford Social Innovation Review. Their comparison of isolated and collective impact can be very useful in designing a community-focused approach to transforming lives and communities. FSG discovered that large-scale social change requires broad cross-sector coordination. Yet the social sector remains focused on the isolated intervention of individual organizations. In an isolated or fragmented service delivery system, funders select individual grantees that offer the most promising solutions. But it has become apparent that a small handful of helping agencies in a community cannot keep pace with constantly changing and complex needs of individuals and families. Simply put, no one or two agencies can be all things to all people. Nonprofits work separately and compete to produce the greatest independent impact, and they compete for the greatest amount of credibility that gets them the greatest amount of funding. Evaluation attempts to isolate a particular organization's impact, but this can lead to assumptions not supported by community metrics about the real needs in a community as a whole. Large-scale change is assumed to depend on scaling a single organization. However, this will not solve the problem of fragmentation among helping agencies, resulting in siloed service gaps. Corporate and government sectors are often disconnected from the efforts of foundations and nonprofits. This is where increased communication, cooperation, and collaboration can help. In a community that strives for increased cooperation and collective impact, funders and implementers understand that social problems and their solutions arise from the interaction of many organizations within a larger system. Our networking technology is proving to help make this happen. Progress depends on working toward the same goal and measuring the same things. Now communities can use data-driven coordination to monitor people's progress from crisis to sustainability to abundant living. Large-scale impact depends on increasing cross-sector alignment and learning among many organizations. We are excited that communities across the country are moving in this direction. Corporate and government sectors are essential partners. Care networking technology has opened the door to these realities. Organizations actively coordinate their actions and share lessons learned. This leads to cross-sector collaboration that can help communities develop lasting solutions. May I suggest that the bottom line is whether a community wants to just help people survive or thrive. If a community wants to help people thrive, then it must create a better together civic culture that allows collective impact to emerge. A better together civic culture, especially among helping agencies, can be powerful and productive. It can empower a spirit of cooperation that can happen at local and regional levels of engagement. We are amazed how our networking technology is being used by community stakeholders to develop a better together culture. Our technology tools help stakeholders increase connectivity and communication throughout their community. This is vital to building trusting relationships and increased cooperation, which must be culture-friendly for different helping agencies. Since 2006, we have learned a lot about different cultures that are present in every community. We have learned that culture impacts our way of life and is oftentimes handed down from generation to generation. It is empowered by our values, beliefs, attitudes, customs, and traditions. These serve as filters that influence our perception of reality. Culture impacts the way we think and act. It determines what is acceptable or unacceptable. It influences our opinions, that is, what is important or unimportant, what is right or wrong, or what is workable or impractical. This can apply to individuals, groups of people, organizations, and the whole community. We have discovered that developing a better together civic culture can be a challenge, but it is possible, and we have hundreds of remarkable stories of this happening across the country. Throughout my many years of involvement with community and faith-based organizations, I have learned that cooperation is a choice. It can be defined as the voluntary action of autonomous organizations which agree to work together to achieve collective results that will benefit all involved. We have learned that cooperation is embedded with two components that influence its success and impact. These are a willingness to cooperate and a capacity for cooperation. Willingness deals with the issue of motivation, oftentimes driven by great passion and concern. Capacity deals with the ability to make something happen that maximizes potential and possibilities. To learn how cooperation can impact strategic planning, I highly recommend The Performance Factor, Unlocking the Secrets of Teamwork by Pat McMillan. Communities across the country are learning that cooperation can impact ways of thinking and acting. They are realizing that the isolated impact of individual helping agencies working separately will not move the needle of poverty, hunger, and other complex challenges in your community. This can only happen when agencies build capacity for collective community impact, which results in large-scale social change. This is probably a good opportunity to share with you a real-world example. The contributions of George McLean, senior social engineer of the Tupelo Miracle, is a living and thriving testimony that there are no limits to what a community can do if it wants to. I invite my colleague Joey Yarber to share this remarkable story.
The Tupelo Model. During the early 1900s, Tupelo's economy was drastically failing. A 40-year decline in cotton farming left little hope for farmers and their families. To make matters worse, in 1936, a powerful tornado ripped through Tupelo, killing over 200 people. Then, in 1937, a labor strike among textile workers fostered tremendous bitterness in the town. By 1940, Lee County was considered one of the poorest counties in America, with no safety net for struggling individuals and families. During these troubling times, a community stakeholder, full of faith and reason, rose to the occasion. His name was George McLean. McLean was an ordained Presbyterian minister and owner of the local newspaper. He was hated by most business owners because of his support for the textile workers during the labor strike. Despite this, he was able to cast vision for unprecedented human and community development that caught the attention of business leaders in Tupelo. He suggested that human resources are our vital assets, and community development depended upon the fullest possible development of each person in the community. Without good people, you can't build a good business or a good community. He convinced business leaders that investments in the comprehensive well-being of farmers would turn out to be a win-win proposition for the local economy. Based upon extensive research, he suggested that farmers would do better engaging in dairy farming rather than investing their time and efforts in a dying cotton business. To get started, they needed one prize bull, expertise in artificial insemination, and facilities to launch the program. McLean inspired 17 businessmen, appealing to their self-interest, to put up the capital to get the ball rolling. And it paid off the first year. Farmers generated $1 million that first year. During the next few years, dairy farming rapidly grew to $10 million per year. Fueling this growth was collective community impact, created by cross-sector collaboratives. Rural community development councils helped meet the everyday needs of farmers through education, daycare, and more. And a new community development foundation aligned the strengths of 7 independent economic programs into one empowering resource that benefited everyone in Tupelo. Systemic change was happening as human and community development partnered together to advance a more comprehensive approach to transforming lives, which in turn transformed Tupelo into a vibrant, healthy community. In 1967, Lee County produced more jobs than all other Mississippi counties combined. During the 1970s, strong emphasis was placed on vocational training and a reliable educated workforce rather than cheap labor. This attracted new companies into the area and sparked entrepreneurial enterprise. During the 1980s, tremendous investments were made in education that combated illiteracy and produced hope for a brighter future. During the 1990s, the area consistently generated 1,000 new manufacturing jobs each year. During our new millennium, the Northeast Mississippi Workforce Development Plan, which is a regional collaborative, has developed and is attracting major business opportunities and more jobs. Today, Tupelo's poverty rate is half the national average. Lee County is now the second most prosperous county in Mississippi. The area has made tremendous strides in interracial cooperation despite civil unrest in past years. The Chronicle of Philanthropy ranked Lee County in the top 2% of all U.S. counties in charitable giving. Tupelo and its surrounding area is home to over 200 furniture factories, most of which are homegrown from local enterprise. Tupelo has a 10,000 seating capacity coliseum, which hosts training for economic development and attracts community stakeholders from around the world. And Tupelo has an advanced education center and is home to North Mississippi Medical Center, the largest non-urban medical facility in the country.
Let me remind you that Tupelo's economic recovery began with systemic change back in the 40s and 50s. This was a time when a spirit of cooperation empowered a community to create a better together civic culture that made a real and lasting difference, one that encouraged stakeholders to work together for common good and greater impact. The results speak for themselves. Oh, by the way, our networking technology has been at work in Tupelo and the surrounding area for many years. Throughout your journey to comprehensive coordinated care, your explorers will be constantly building capacity along the way. Capacity building takes shape in many different ways. It can mean making room for new ways of thinking and acting, often called innovation. Making room for this may involve seminars where helping agencies can learn how to sustain and advance their missions. This education can help organizations to learn how to strengthen their skills and performance through developing transformative leadership, successful grant writing, and empowered volunteer management. This education may also include the awareness and best practice of care networking which can increase their resourcefulness and effectiveness. Capacity building is also about removing obstacles and clearing pathways that foster change, progress, and growth. Capacity building is also about creating new cultural changes that positively impact beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. We are often invited to make presentations to community stakeholders in different cities across the country. These are designed to jumpstart community conversations about creating a better together civic culture among helping agencies. We have discovered that trusting relationships are vital to developing increased cooperation among helping agencies. As agencies throughout your community begin to value and respect each other more, now you are building capacity for a better together culture. This can set the stage for an unprecedented context or empowering environment where diverse agencies connect, learn from each other, and collaborate for the well-being of everyone in their community. Also keep in mind that capacity building has mutual benefits for all who invest in this transformative process. I like what Zig Ziglar once said, "You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want." A good example of capacity building is Community Connections in Huntsville, Alabama. The leaders of a local community foundation host gatherings each month for leaders of helping agencies who are learning the value of cooperation and collective action. These leaders also coordinate regular training events for our networking technology, and they engage leaders from the private, public, and social sectors in community conversations about working together. The results are amazing. I am personally engaged in what is happening in Huntsville, Alabama. I was there when they first learned about the value and benefits of care networking. I watched as they started building capacity for a better together civic culture by launching their care network. This growing network has connected over 200 helping agencies that represent several hundred caregivers. The Huntsville Care Network is creating a remarkable spirit of cooperation among all community sectors.
I'm Tommy Battle. I'm the mayor of the city of Huntsville. And my role here is more to talk about community connections, charity trackers, and the things that they're doing in our community. It's a great day when you have nonprofits who come together and nonprofits who work together. And they work together for the betterment of the community. That's what Charity Tracker, Community Connections allows us to do. It allows us to check on each other, see what they're doing, make sure we don't have a duplication of services, make sure that we have get the most efficient use out of our donor dollar. And as we do that, we end up with an organization that kind of shapes the way that we provide services, that we give money, that we help those who are a little bit less fortunate. And as we do that, we can make sure that we can spread that dollar further and further.
We have case managers that work specifically with adults and children clients. And Charity Tracker helps us go into that system to see what organizations are already working with our clients, and so that we're not duplicating those efforts and maybe better linking our clients with services.
At Asbury Church, we use Charity Tracker to keep track of how the community is helping those in need, and if we see something posted on there that we think we can help with, then we will try to respond to that.
We posted our open house event on Charity Tracker, and we're able to share that with all the other nonprofits so that they could refer people to that event. And it's also a great recruitment tool for us, and just letting the other nonprofits know about what we have to offer, and maybe they can refer their clients to us.
I mean, there are literally hundreds of social service nonprofits in our community. The only way that we can effectively serve is by working together. We can avoid duplication of services. We can learn from one another.
We come in to be a part of a group like this, we're going to be changing a little bit of the way we work because we should. Because if that's the way the service is going to be provided, and that's a better way to provide service, so you reach more people.
And you see through Charity Tracker so many people that I may have a resource that I don't need, and without Charity Tracker, it's probably just going to sit at my organization. But by sharing resources, we can just all help one another.
No one resource does everything. So working side by side is a very powerful tool. So it makes perfect sense if you're really wanting to serve your clients and serve the community to the fullest, that you partner with others and work together to find solutions.
For the agencies who've just started working in Charity Tracker, they really are getting used to the system and developing the full capabilities, and the funding for that has been vital to get people to try it out and see what it's about and learn what they can do.
You think about April 27th, when that tornado hit in 2011, we had thousands of people that we were having to provide for. Food is one thing, but you had people that had lost including family members, and so I saw the best in our community. I think that we've got the full gamut here where we can truly make a difference in people's lives, and I just want to thank everyone for their participation. Alone you can do nothing, but together this group will be able to touch so many lives.
Huntsville is fast rising to a new kind of cross-sector dialogue known as a community conversation, which you caught a glimpse of in Step 2. Charitable and human service organizations are engaged in roundtable discussions. City and county government are involved. Businesses like Toyota and Boeing are getting involved, and many community and faith-based leaders are engaged as well. To capitalize on their growing spirit of cooperation, they are building capacity for a powerful guiding coalition of stakeholders. This coalition is known as Community Connections, a decentralized network of stakeholders who come from all parts of the community. Their role is to discover emerging trends, promote best practices, and develop innovative collaborative solutions for complex community challenges. In an earlier session, I introduced to you to Dr. Tom Wolf, a nationally recognized consultant on coalition building and community development. Dr. Wolf suggests our communities and our world face such complex problems that we can no longer solve them by gathering a few experts in a room and letting them dictate change. Many of us now understand that the emerging problems that communities face have such complex origins that we can only fix them if we use comprehensive community problem-solving efforts rather than single-focused approaches. We need to meet and communicate and partner with each other, and we need to include representatives from all parts of our community. So let's look at a practical application of Dr. Wolf's recommendations. We have discovered that most communities have little or no context that Dr. Wolf recommends. Communities need a setting or context where stakeholders can connect, learn from each other, and collaborate for the well-being of everyone in their community. We use the word care collaborative to describe this community-focused setting. This can be a powerful catalyst for systemic change if it engages stakeholders from the public, private, and social community sector. Give people opportunity to contribute their time, talents, and treasures to a worthwhile cause, and they will gain ownership in the vision and mission. As successful results become apparent, stakeholders feel compelled to invite others to participate as well. This is a powerful motivating factor in getting people involved. Many communities across the country are leveraging the growth and success of their care networks to build capacity for a powerful care collaborative of stakeholders from all community sectors. This collaborative is a catalyst for creating a clear, practical, and compelling picture of the future that most people want and will help make happen. This collaborative builds favorable consensus for innovative practices and the need for immediate action. It will also create credibility and influence that helps to drive collective community impact. We encourage community stakeholders to strive to build a care collaborative with people who others trust and have confidence in. Look for those who have a bias for action and have vision and passion for helping others. Find those who have much credibility, influence with others, and good communication skills. The best collaborative stakeholders are those who have a servant leadership heart driven by compassion for people and their needs. And do not be surprised where these people might come from. Some will already be involved in important causes, while others may be waiting in the wings for just the right moment to step forward. Find those who can effectively communicate the need for change and collective action. Your Care Collaborative will serve as backbone support that promotes and nurtures increased communication and cooperation among helping agencies. Together, your Care Network and your Care Collaborative will help to set the stage for meaningful cross-sector collaboration and the development of lasting solutions for complex community challenges. The essential goal of your Care Collaborative is to pave the way for comprehensive coordinated care, opportunity for everyone in your community to achieve a healthier, happier, and a more meaningful life. This will happen as long as your Care Collaborative constantly strives to be inclusive, agile, and committed for the long haul. By inclusive, I mean it resonates with cross-sector representation. It should create points of entry for engagement from many different sectors of your city. These can include education, which includes teachers, trainers, and career counselors; faith-based organizations, which include churches and missional organizations; health and wellness, which includes physical, mental, and emotional care providers; Chamber of Commerce and local businesses, which support productive business development; government, which includes elected officials and public safety coordinators; foundations, which coordinate endowment funds and corporate funding; charitable nonprofits, which include resource providers and social workers; community developers, which are involved in economic and workforce development. Your Care Collaborative should also be agile in ongoing development. It should be able to quickly get up to speed with what matters most in your community. It should be flexible with plans and actions and know how to effectively adapt to any situation or challenge as it arises. It should also engage in continuous innovation as it keeps a sharp eye on the future. Your Care Collaborative, despite the reality that representatives will come and go, should be committed for the long haul. This is not a sprint, but a marathon that leads to developing lasting solutions that future generations can build upon. As I mentioned before, the activities of your Care Collaborative must be catalytic in nature. That is, not to simply talk about things, but to make things happen. Here are some things that a Care Collaborative can be most effective at doing. Building trusting and partnering relationships among diverse stakeholders who share common interests and engage in mutually beneficial goals. Develop the common agenda and strategic action framework that clearly defines where they are going and the roadmap for getting there. Provide many opportunities and access points for civic participation, especially for those most impacted by initiatives. Engage in a continuous process of planning and doing, grounded in constant evidence-based feedback about what is or is not working. Meet regularly to share information, knowledge, and data that benefits all stakeholders and paves the way for best practices and collaborative solutions. I also suggest that your Care Collaborative not be a newly created nonprofit in need of staff and funding to sustain its existence. Invite representatives from all parts of your community, including service providers and recipients as well, those who are most impacted by cross-sector collaboration and decisions. These should be volunteers who are there because they want to. And if funds are needed for a breakfast or luncheon, let your community stakeholders, those who care enough to act, sponsor these activities. Although your Care Collaborative must primarily be organic, it will require intentional processes. We recommend that a small team of people with administrative or organizational skills be created to keep community stakeholders informed and engaged. We also recommend that this team be trained in developing collective community impact strategies. These are new and essential capacity building skills that most people are not familiar with but can learn how to do with education and coaching. And also, do not refer to your care collaborative as a committee, which oftentimes sounds like just another meeting for people to attend. It simply must be known as a community-wide task force, coalition, or collaborative of local citizens who truly care about community, its people, potential, and possibilities. Most collaboratives start out small and continue to grow over time. We suggest that the initial participants of your care collaborative come from those who are actively engaged in growing your care network. Your collaborative should spend lots of time building trusting relationships and brainstorming. Start gathering rich intelligence about diverse helping agencies in your community. Also, identify local community funding sources, like foundations and corporate giving initiatives. You will probably be very surprised that your research uncovers an abundant but often unrecognized wealth of community resources. Oftentimes, many services, programs, and opportunities are present in your community, but they are not widely known because of a lack of public awareness. Just imagine what would happen if every child, youth, adult, and family were able to quickly find all of the resources that they need to help transform their lives. The results would be remarkable.
Hey, thanks, Mike. The benefits far outweigh the risks. How many times have you heard this? What risks? Well, there really isn't any. It's sometimes getting out of that old comfort zone, so to speak, saying goodbye to the old status quo of working from a paper roller desk or phone calls that just go to someone's voicemail that you can call back and leave another voicemail and they can leave you a voicemail, or sending an email that may or may not even reach an inbox and go to spam. If you're willing to do this, though, the benefits will come, and sooner than you might think. One such case is the work of the collaboration in Evansville, Indiana. This is the perfect example of cross-sector collaboration. We initially had a community conversation on Zoom and had several stakeholders there part of the call. They were sincerely looking for a solution for their city. They were aware of the risks, but they were more focused on the benefits. They pulled the trigger with Charity Tracker, and that network is seeing success in efficiency and effectiveness by working together, strengthening the collective power from a community care focus. The benefits far outweigh the risks. The next step in your journey will require that you grow your care network and take steps to build the capacity of your care collaborative. This is the topic of our next session, entitled Step 5, Set Up More Base Camps Along the Way. Hey, thanks so much for taking time to explore this transformative knowledge. If we can ever be of assistance, or for more information on this training series, you can call us at area code 256-764-0633, or email me to joey@simonsolutions.com or mike@simonsolutions.com. Thank you so much for being part of this training session.